Good morning. I'm Connie Romanis, a member of the League of Women Voters of Greater Peoria. And on behalf of the League and the Washington Public Library, we would like to welcome you to the candidate forum for all the persons for Ward 1. Our candidates are Paula Johnson and Todd Sluder. We appreciate the audience that's here and those of you who are joining us on our live stream channel on YouTube, LWVGP. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization. We do not endorse candidates or political parties. We do take positions on issues after a lengthy study process. One of the missions of the League is voter education, and we do this through candidate forums. We've been doing the candidate forums for many years throughout the country, and it's our way for you, the voters, to hear directly from the candidates. We hope that you will walk away from here today with a little more information on the issues in the community and about the candidates themselves to help you when you vote, either through early voting, voting by mail, or on Election Day, April 1st. If you haven't had a chance to submit a question, there are some cards over on the table, and some of our collectors have cards in their hands. We want to hear your questions and your concerns. We have a few to get us going, but you, the voters, are the most important part of that, next to the candidates, of course. Our moderator this morning is Roberta Parks. Roberta will run through the rules and get us started. So I'm going to let her take it away. Please hold your applause.
Don't take my questions. Take your paperwork, not my questions. I knew I would do that. So did I. Hi, I'm Rob Parks, and I appreciate you all being here, and I appreciate the candidates being here. As Connie said, I'm going to hit the highlights of the rules. The candidates have both seen the rules and they've signed off on the rules. I think the important thing for you all to know is that all questions are for both candidates. So if you're writing questions, please don't write one that is geared toward one candidate or the other. Try to make them reasonably neutral. I'll try to neutralize the language if you choose not to. The candidates will each have 2 minutes for their opening statement and closing statement. Do you need some help there?
No.
Okay, I just don't want you to fall into the computer. So I'm sorry, the candidates will each have 2 minutes for their opening and closing statements, and they will each have 1.5 minutes to answer each question. We drew cards before, and Paula, Ms. Johnson will make her opening statement first, and then followed by Mr. Sluder, and then he will answer the first question first, and then we'll just keep going back and forth. You've seen, if you were here for the mayoral forum, you've heard lots of the questions. We got lots of duplicate questions from the audience. So start writing questions right now and hold your card up when you get a question written, and that will provide us with some new questions. So we've got our timers here in the front of the room. They will they'll show the candidates 1 minute, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, and then the ever popular stop sign comes up. And I will stop candidates if they continue with a run-on sentence. If they've got 3 or 4 words left to finish the sentence, then I'm probably going to let them do that. But I will just at some point say, thank you very much. I'm very good at talking over people, so I can do that without a problem. But we didn't have that challenge in the mayoral forum, so hopefully we won't have it here either. The timers are right up here, and they'll be able to see the candidates, and I'll be able to see the time remaining. So with that, Ms. Johnson, you have 2 minutes for an opening statement.
Great, thank you. First, I'd like to apologize for my voice this morning. I work with very young children, and it turns out one can only take so many sneezes directly to the eyeball. So I'm sorry for sounding this way. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for holding this, and thank you to all of you who are here, especially those of you who were here for the Mayor Forum. It's been a long morning already for a Saturday. It's beautiful and sunny out, and you chose to be here, so I appreciate that. I grew up here in Washington, and then my husband and I moved back a little over 20 years ago to raise our family We came back here because we love this city. We love Washington, and I love Washington. And one of the things that we need to keep this town going are people who are willing to step up and do the work that needs to be done, and the timing is great. I don't really have anything to address right at this moment other than to say I look forward to answering some questions and letting you know how I can be a good voice to represent Ward 1 on City Council. Thanks.
Mr. Sluder.
Hi, I'm Todd Sluder. I am a son of Mike and Diana Sluder. And I have four siblings that are ahead of me. The youngest by 6 years. But what I love about Washington, and something that I absolutely adore, is I've had great mentors to me growing up through this city. And I love the opportunity to give back from something that I've learned. I absolutely love a couple of things that coaches, band directors, people that I adore. My family grew up here, and it's commitment, it's trustworthy, it's loyal, it's being able to bring those things back to what I was taught growing up in high school and through the grade schools. Made some great friends here. A little bit about me: I'm very much involved in my church. I love the opportunity to just be able to serve, and that's something that's part of me in my life. I have a couple of my siblings, and my parents still live in this town. I've had siblings that have left, but they always come home. And when they come home, they absolutely love the opportunity to go into Michael's, the different venues, 5 Points. They love the atmosphere here and what it brings. You can't get Friday night like football in a lot of different areas. Been able to play sports. And I'm ready to be able to serve my community in the best way I can and to learn and to grow personally. That's something I absolutely love. A little bit about me, just a little bit more, 15 seconds left, is I'm a project manager for a company that does a lot with restoration work, disasters. And I absolutely love what I do because I get to serve in that capacity as well.
Great. Mr. Sluder, you get the first question. You are both running to be elected to represent Ward 1. So what are the issues that you see are important to the constituents in Ward 1?
Again, Paula said earlier in her opening, we don't have the greatest knowledge of everything going on right now. But a couple of things that I want to bring to the table is something that I think the community is pretty good at is safety. In the last couple of council meetings, they were talking about safety issues and things like that, wanting to upgrade the police. I absolutely love that. I'm a big supporter in that. I think safety is a number one thing in my eyes, but also I want to learn and grow a little bit more what the city really needs and be a voice for those in my ward to be able to support them and just have great conversations and get to know more people. That is something that I look forward to doing in that regard.
Okay, Ms. Johnson, same question.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure. I sort of made it up on the spot. You are running to be elected to represent Ward 1. What are the issues that you believe are important to the constituents in Ward 1?
Okay, well, I think that likely something that's going to become an issue for a lot of people in Ward 1 is going to be what happens on the 223 property, since a lot of Ward 1 borders the 223 property. So that's going to be something that I think is really important, is going to be listening to community feedback on what to do with that land. We've had that land for a long time. And I really, I think buy-in is so important. One of the things I heard a lot when I was out gathering signatures for my petition was, you know, what's going to happen there? What's it going to mean for my house? What's it going to mean for my property values? So I think that is really going to be a big issue moving forward for members of our ward.
Okay, Ms. Johnson, you get to answer the next question first. What is your economic development plan, if elected, that would move the city forward to bring new businesses or industry into the city of Washington?
big gun question. Actually, I think that both of the mayoral candidates addressed this very well. I am just getting to know how the city government really works at a granular level. I've been paying attention for a long time, but other commitments have kept me from attending meetings up until probably sporadically over the years, but more over the last few months. And I think definitely reviving the committee that is there to do this. I mean, we've got a lot of knowledge in this town, a lot of experience, people who know how to bring businesses in, people who know people who have businesses. And I'd love to really use that knowledge and experience to bring the right kinds of businesses to Washington to help relieve some of the tax burden on our citizens and keep it the town that we all love and, you know, the reasons that we chose to live here.
Mr. Sluder, same question.
I'll try to answer it the best I can. I love the question. I think finding ways to be able to develop revenue within the city, to be able to talk about different opportunities that we may be able to have, whether it's the amphitheater, and being able to do that. But I think, again, learning a lot more, and right now I don't have the greatest answer of what we can do, but I love to be able to trust those that are around me, if I have the opportunity to be voted in, to trust those around me that have been established here for years to see what's kind of going on, and trusting the city councilwomen, men and women that are there in the designated positions, and to learn. But I think finding ways to bring in businesses is like getting revenue for the city, be able to find ways and navigate that part. Best answer I can get.
Okay, the next question goes to you, Mr. Sluder, first. And this is the big amphitheater question. So the council has spent several months discussing the proposed amphitheater funded by a private foundation, but would require city spending on infrastructure to support that. What are your views on this project? And do you believe there is sufficient regional demand for such a performance? And if the project does not go, I believe it's about $3.5 million that's pledged for the infrastructure improvements. How would you want to see that money spent?
Well, don't have a great answer. I'm not a magic ball, 8-ball to wish it and it's going to happen. But I live over there. Obviously, Ward 1 is right there in that area. I deal with the marching band on normal times of music coming in and playing, and it's lovely. Friday Night Lights, so you have noise from the stadium all the time. We don't have all the answers, and I've been at a lot of city councils and been able to see and watch it on YouTube, which has been great. I think we have to get more answers for that to be able to really make a decision. There's been a lot of great citizens that have stood up and asked about, hey, what about we have the money to take it a different direction, what we can do if it doesn't pass. There's a lot of good options out there to do with that that area. So,
Okay. Ms. Johnson, same question.
Excuse me. So I definitely agree we need more information. If I had a time machine, I would have loved to go back in time and had a little bit more community input versus having, I was there when they did the initial presentation at City Council, and in talking to a lot of people, I think that much of the opposition is, at least in part, because people feel like they just had this thing brought to them without having had any input. Heard a lot of people say they're not opposed to something, but maybe not something of that scale. And I would have to agree that that particular scale, I definitely question whether it could be successful as currently planned. Regarding the money toward the infrastructure, if by chance, and I want to emphasize too that Dr. Hank's gift is amazing, and I really appreciate that he wants to honor his wife. But if the project were to not move forward or to not move forward in that exact location, my understanding, very, very rudimentary understanding of how the money works, those funds, even though they have sources right now, those funds would be able to be used for other infrastructure projects that are needed within town. So there would definitely be a use for that $3.5 million.
Okay, and Ms. Johnson, the next question goes to you first. How would you help with the Ward 1 residents who live in Washington Estates with their water issues? The question implies that the rates are higher and the pressure is lower in Washington Estates than it is anyplace else. I don't know if that's an accurate statement or not.
I've heard the same thing. I will be honest, I don't know what the role of city council is in something like that. So I would hope that obviously there are people working in City Hall, city staff that do know the answers to those questions. And if there were difficulties with residents wanting to bring those concerns to City Hall, and they reached out to me to help them make those contacts or help make that communication happen, then that at this point would be where I would see my role, not knowing anything more than that.
Mr. Sluder, same question.
Yeah, I thought when you said water, I was thinking, is this going to be like a work question for what I do? People having problems in their basements? No. I think I haven't personally heard of water issues within the area, but if there is, that's something that would bring to the council and kind of see. But also, Paula kind of took my answers with those who are involved with. It's a good answer. Those are involved with the city council and then also within City Hall that are part of those is you got to trust the people that are working and getting paid the money to be able to do their job. And then at times if people are not doing their job, that's where you address it and figure it out later on. But concerns and being willing to take those to the table to address those, that's part of, I think, what we do as a council is seek, understand from our ward and be a spokesperson for them, so.
Okay, there's been a question from the audience to ask either of the candidates to describe the boundaries of Ward 1, which I cannot do at all because I don't live in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
So can you help the audience out with what the boundaries are?
Yep, so is it me?
Either one of you can answer this question. I mean, this is just an informational one.
Yeah, so it's been fun, trying to figure that out. So Kingsbury is one, so on one side of Kingsbury, on the right side is Ward 4, and then going down Kingsbury, as you're going towards Cummings, is the left side is Ward 1 for some weird reason. But in history, they marked it on a map and they developed it, and this is kind of how it went. And to add more to it, there's school districts are all over the place too with it. So, but it butts up to different areas, and I don't know fully why it was developed that way, but there are a lot of different areas that should be part of something else.
I'm guessing there's a map on the city's website of the wards. I'm sorry, I keep calling them districts because that's what I have in Peoria. So of course I have it. So I appreciate that at least gives some perspective. And if you've got your phone out, check on the website and see what the boundaries are. So, okay. Then I just lost track. So Todd, you'll be, Mr. Sluder, you'll be answering the next question first. And I'm not going to ask the chicken question.
It's okay.
What skills do you bring to the table as a potential alderman, that skills and characteristics that you don't believe your opponent has?
Well, unfortunately, I don't know much about Paula, but we got to talk a little bit about that, so I don't really have anything negative to say, to be honest with you. And if there was something negative to say, I'm not a great politician when it comes to that, of being negative towards it. I'm very civil. I'm committed to the cause of making Washington better. And my background of knowledge of constantly learning about construction, but also with restoration, I'm pretty good with what I do, like being a restoration manager for a company. And I think what I do is be calm, collective. I'll listen to my people, my Washingtonians, and be able to address the best I can with the issues that they bring up. And that's honestly the best method I can do, is just be who I am, a faithful Washingtonian that's lived here for 37 years.
Okay. Ms. Johnson, same question.
Yeah, likewise, I have nothing negative to say about Mr. Sluder. I suppose if there's one thing that I bring that he doesn't, it's just a fact, is I am obviously a little bit older. I know this comes as a shock to all of you. And also, I've raised a family here, so that maybe gives a different perspective. On the other hand, he, represents that younger, that younger cohort that we're trying to get involved. So, I mean, I don't necessarily see my age and experience as a huge benefit. What I can tell you is I am a person who I bring the ability to manage a lot of different types of people and personalities. I work with this, like I said, 2-year-olds in their homes with a variety of families, different types of families, different socioeconomic levels. And I have learned very well that how to find something that I respect and something that I enjoy in every person that I encounter. I maintain curiosity. Every single subject that is controversial, I always ask myself, what would it take to change my mind? And if I can't answer the question, what would it take to change my mind, then I know that I have gotten a little bit too up in my own thoughts and it's time to do a little bit more learning. So that's it.
Okay, Ms. Johnson, this question goes to you next. The past 4 years have seen more of a split on the council than in recent memory. So what would you bring to the table to help ensure at least less division and perhaps more unity on the council?
Yeah, and anyone who's attended council meetings knows that sometimes there's a very tense feeling in that room. I mean, if you're the type of person who picks up on vibes, you walk into the room and it just feels a little tense these days. So what would I personally do? Well, it's a group of individuals, so each individual has to take their responsibility for their part in it. For my own part, I am going to remember, for one thing, that every single person up there is there because they want to do what is best for Washington. And that we may have different ways of thinking about things, different approaches, but we all want what's best for the town when it comes down to it. And that we are all people with families and friends and people who love them outside that room, and to remember that we're still talking to humans and not just opponents on the opposite side of an issue. In addition, I will always be civil. I will always look at you when you are speaking and wait for you to finish your sentence before I offer up something to say or a question. So lead by example. I'll maintain civility and hope to be the change.
Mr. Sluder, same question.
Can you repeat that question?
Perhaps. The last 4 years have seen more of a split on the council than at any time in recent memory. So what would you do if you were elected to the council to at least lessen the division on the council and perhaps increase the unity of the council?
I think one thing about me, and hopefully people get to know me on either side or decision making, is I too will be very engaged in listening to the other side of what people are trying to explain. Look people in the eye, talk to them as they're expressing one's view, and not to react in a way of being disrespectful. I think it's a good thing to try to gain and have the mindset of unity amongst each other. Even though we may have different backgrounds and have different ideas, I think it's important that you have that basis of that and be able to make decisions. Communicating very well to someone else your feelings is a good way, in a respectful manner. I think it's important, and to get things done, you have to have unity. And so if you have that cause of trying to drive to have the unity, things will be a lot more successful, if that makes sense for you.
Yep. Mr. Sluder, this question goes to you first. As noted in the mayoral forum, there has been significant turnover for the last 10 years in the city manager or city administrator position. What skills and characteristics are you would you be looking for if you were elected to the council?
On the
On city administrator position.
Okay. Well, perfect world, you would want trust, you would want unity, you would want commitment to Washington on that. So hopefully when looking for a candidate or a person in that position to be appointed that position, they would have these qualities to be able to work well with other people and to be able to be open-minded and to be able to get things done and be able to work as a team is what I would look for in a person. If I have an opportunity to meet that person, I would ask the same questions and mindsets of that. So that's what my answer there.
Ms. Johnson, same question.
Well, yeah, with the turnover, I definitely, in a perfect world, would love to see somebody in city administrators that plans to stay for a while. Like that would, I don't know how you ask those questions. You can't get a guarantee from people, but somebody who isn't ready to leave would be great. But again, to echo what was said by the mayoral candidates earlier, just somebody who can approach issues in a neutral way, look at both sides of things, talk to people on both sides of things, somebody who has effective leadership skills. Because we've got a lot of great knowledge and experience at City Hall, and this person would be their boss. So somebody who's got some experience there would be great as well.
Okay, thank you. What do you believe is the number one environmental issue facing the city of Washington over the next 3 to 5 years?
I'm so glad I get to go first. Honestly, I don't know. This is not my area of expertise at all. I've heard, I know, environmentally, I guess we're talking about the environment. I don't know, is climate change, is that a thing? I've heard a lot about stormwater management. So I definitely think that sounds like an area where there's going to be needed to be a lot of financial support and knowledge, but honestly, I don't really know, and I look forward to learning more.
Mr. Sluder, same question.
I would say mosquitoes. No, I'm just joking. I really,
That was all of it.
thanks. Mosquitoes are bad, but I would agree. I don't really have a great answer, not knowing all the quirks and screws that are going on and discussed in the town on that. But I would love to learn and to be able to combat that in any way I can. Storm drainage is a good one. I would say keeping trees, environmental, trying to keep things as best as what historic Washington is like, and being able to hit on those things of the history that we had. I'm proud of is trying to keep those things in mind as we go about changing Washington for the better, but also keeping the history and the love and passion that we have for the town in any kind of environmental way. That's what I'd say, but mosquitoes are important too.
So you could lobby for a mosquito abatement district that has taxing powers. They have those in the northern part of the state. I'm horrified by that. Here's how I think you kill mosquitoes, like that. That was an aside that was not necessary at all. So you're going to be representing Ward 1. So what will you personally do, if elected, to engage the constituents that you will have in Ward 1 and get their perspective and feedback on issues that are going to come before the council?
I could easily, in life where I'm at, I could easily start a Facebook page and start doing that, engaging that way. But I think my mindset is having great relationships amongst the people in the ward, getting to know people and be able to ask them questions of how they're doing, what's going on in life, communicating and sharing their opinions with me. I think I liked a couple of the answers the mayoral candidates had, creating their own Facebook page within the city to be able to narrow the feed to being able to be unified and have a narrow feed is a great one. I think me personally communicating to others around, being able to have an open line where they text me or they email me, I will respond back in the best manner I can, is basically my ideal way of communicating. I do that with work all the time. Customers call me after hours. I try my best to communicate. My wife will say otherwise, but I enjoy that. So that's what I got.
Okay, Ms. Johnson, same question.
So I do think that increasing communication is really important. What I would ideally like to do, I work part-time, so I've got lots of time on my hands. I would love to have some sort of regularly scheduled at different days, different times, of maybe having a thing at the Blend, having a thing at Fair Coffee, and just making it known out on Facebook that anybody is welcome. Come with questions, come with comments, just really keeping the lines of communication open, getting my phone number out there, email. I will always respond. I may not always respond, fully. I may need to get more information, but I really would like to see more engagement. We see that. I'm the president of the band boosters at the high school, and one of the things we really have a hard time doing is getting people involved and I think it's really easy for folks to get complacent and feel like their voice doesn't matter. And so I'd like for my constituents to know your voice really does matter to me. I recognize that I represent you and not just myself, and I really, really want to hear what you have to say so that I can do that fully.
Okay, so here's one that kind of goes off in a different direction. Does Washington need motorcycle police officers?
Could you repeat that?
Does Washington need motorcycle police officers?
Well, I mean, depends on how we're defining the word need, I suppose. I'll be honest, I haven't seen police out on motorcycles very much, but it's probably because I'm such a lawful driver that I just don't see the police all that often. I really can't weigh in on that issue, so my apologies to the person who asked the question. I know we have them, and if there are better ways to make use of the police on motorcycles, then I think that sounds like a great idea. But I'm afraid I can't answer as to whether we need them because I wasn't there when the decision was made to get motorcycles.
Mr. Sluder, same question.
Alrighty. I think I don't own a motorcycle, so I don't know the gas pricing on that, if it is feasible for getting motorcycles to save gas costs. I don't know if that's a thing or if that's true. I do see a lot of motorcycles for the state police on 74. They're very good at stopping people. I've not been a part of that. But I also see a lot of people in that way. They are sneaky. So if you're looking for more safety and things like that, being able to be caught in the act, that's one way. I don't have a great answer for that, but I thought it was a great question to throw out there. And yeah, I guess you have to dig into it more to really get a great answer if that is needed or not.
Okay. Mr. Sluder, this question goes to you first. You did not have a vote on the $2 million police evidence building, but the conversations continue to exist. So were you on the council at that time? Would you have voted for or against it? And is there, or do you think there are better uses of the funds?
Well, I don't know all the details to give a yes or no answer to that, to be honest with you. If there was details presented to me of where money was going and how things are going, I then could give you an answer better suited for that. I can't really say one way or other, but I know I'm a big supporter in helping police to be able to do their job the best of their ability. I just don't know the budgets for that in that regard.
Ms. Johnson, same question.
To echo Mr. Sluder's response, I don't have enough information to say right now whether I would have been in favor or opposed to the evidence building. What I do know is there is a real need to balance the needs of the police department. We have a great police department. We have a very safe community, and they are a large part of that. I also know that we all pay a lot in taxes and would love to pay less in taxes or at least not pay more. So when that type of issue comes up, I do think that it's very, very important that we get all the information, and even if little bits of money can be saved here and there, it's all really for the taxpayers. So I can't answer the question as to how I would have voted, but I definitely would, moving forward, want to make sure that we are really balancing the needs of the community and the needs of our police department with also really using taxpayer dollars as carefully as possible. I want to use your money as carefully as I use my own money. So.
Okay, this next question is about the brew pub that will be opening soon. The question I asked at the mayoral forum was, have you learned lessons from this process? That's not the question for all of you, but the second part of the question, Are you at all concerned that the developers of this property have not yet resolved their legal and monetary issues with their immediate neighbors?
I only know what I have heard through rumors and through Facebook posts and stuff. So I really can't speak to it because I think that I've heard from both sides. So, but I definitely don't think that I've heard any unbiased information on that to be able to form an opinion. What I would hope moving forward, and I wish there were a way to go back and fix that situation, because I think it's a real shame that adjoining businesses, that it got as contentious as it did. I don't know what city council, what role could be played there to help prevent that sort of contentious situation from happening. But if there is something that can be done, I would very much like to do it, because we just don't need that kind of bad blood. We want the business to be successful. We want the people who are already on the square with their existing businesses to be successful. We want everybody to just get along. So I would love to see that happen.
Mr. Sluder, same question.
Can you rephrase it?
I can try. Does it concern you at all that the developers of the downtown restaurant and brew pub haven't resolved their legal and monetary issues with their immediate neighbors?
Does it concern me? I think any kind of confrontation is concerning. I would hope that they would figure it out and talk about it. I don't know all the great answers for that, but I don't like contention when it comes to that. I like things to be solved. We're on a common ground with it. Don't have the background on that. I know I've talked to people in the square, random, that people are excited about it. Neighborhood, a lot of people in our neighborhood, younger folk are excited about it. So there's things there. That's all I got. I really don't have.
Okay. This next question goes to you first. Significant state-funded road work will be done and badly needed repairs on Business 24 through the city main drag. Do you have any ideas for plans to assist the businesses that are located on Business 24 for the disruption for the road work?
So the main drag going through 24.
Mhm.
That's what you're talking about. I'm excited about. I hope everyone's excited about that, getting that fixed. I don't have a great answer at this time when it comes to all the small businesses and being able to keep them going. I would hope there would be people that are in place that can make those decisions and address those issues, whether it's with the city employees doing that or with the IDOT people being able to help in making a decision. I don't know how that all works out, but I would think they would have that in their mindset to help the small businesses and be able to stay open.
Ms. Johnson, same question.
I'm sorry, could you repeat it?
Maybe. There's significant state-funded road work that will bring long-needed repairs to Business 24, Washington Road, Peoria Street, through the city's main corridor. Do you have any ideas on how to assist the businesses that are currently located on that for the disruption for the construction?
Not really, but I think that we are a community that can get really creative sometimes about helping our businesses out when they need help. So I guess one thing would be to help ensure that everyone knew well in advance when which areas were going to be disrupted and for how long they are likely to be disrupted, so that people who live along there and the business owners would know very far in advance and could plan for the potential of people having trouble getting to them. And then I would love to, it's not something I think city council would do, but I would love to be in support of creative ways of supporting those businesses if they're finding that their business is disrupted because people are having trouble getting to them or taking alternate routes around town. So I think that we're a community that can really pull together and support them through that.
So this is my question that I made up on the spot. So When did you decide you wanted to serve on the Washington City Council? And was there an issue that caused you to make that decision?
Well, I've actually paid a lot of attention to city politics. I'll be honest, I was one of those people who, I always voted in the national elections, but didn't really pay attention to local politics like I think a lot of people do when they're young. And I got a lot more knowledgeable and informed around the tornado, as I think a lot of us did, seeing how things went at the city level after the tornado and how things were handled. I have considered for a long time running for school board or city council or some kind of elected position. I've spent years volunteering, first at WMS and then at the high school. I volunteer with the Penguin Project. I love to give of my time. I don't have as much money as I would like to give, so I give my time instead. The decision to run for council I was very back and forth right until the last minute, which is why Mr. Sluder got his petitions in on the day that they were due, and mine made it in just under the wire. Because I made the decision, the timing felt right. My youngest child is a junior at the high school now, so my years of volunteering at the schools are coming to a close. 2 of my 4 kids are off to college and starting to leave the nest, so I have the time now and the energy and would love to serve as your representative on council.
Mr. Sluder, when did you make the decision, and was there a precipitating issue that caused you to make that decision?
Yeah, no crazy decision, that like drastic decision that made me choose. I think I got involved as a class president in freshman year of high school a long time ago. That was something I absolutely loved. Talking to my brother out in Denver a lot of the time. He used to do a lot of different things on committees. I think church for me, being able to, in our church, we have callings that we get assigned to do and being on committees, and it was fun to learn and to grow on that standpoint of being able to work together as a group to be able to get things done. On the political side, when it comes to the council, I want to get to know people. I want to be able to grow, and with a lot of things going on in the world today, it was something that I just kind of sparked with me again, that I really wanted to take on the endeavor and to grow personally and to learn and to grow about my city that I love. And that's the honest truth of how I got it, and seeing my dad involved with the school and school boards and stuff like that. I got to see that and grow up with it. So.
Right. I think we'll move to closing statements at this point. So, Mr. Sluder, you can go first with your 2-minute closing statement.
2 minutes, all right. I didn't have notes here, but I failed to address one thing is I'm grateful for the league on that. But the second bigger thing is my wife's here, Mikkel Sluder. She supported me a lot. We've been married for 9 years. We're hoping to have a family and to be able to grow within this community we love. I'm grateful for a lot of, like I said earlier in my opening comments, my mentors. I would call mentors in life, in all aspects of it, whether it's the arts or whether it's the sports. A lot of people have been involved in my life, and again, I want to give back in any way I can. And my accountants, my character was built from growing up here, having 4 siblings and my parents being involved a lot in the community. Have great examples, and that's what I want to give back, and to be able to just share that with some of the people here, and to hear my words and to be able to get to know me better. That's what I love to do. If I'm able to be elected and win your vote, I would do everything I can to be that person that I was built into the man I am today. That's just who I am. I hope that when you come up to me, you introduce yourself to me, and I will remember your name the best I can. I meet a lot of people on a daily basis. Very involved with that. But again, one biggest thing is I love this town. I love this city. It means a lot to me. I know there's people in this room that know that. And there are other people here that are running on city council that know that too. So I'm a big man of faith, and I love the opportunity to, give back.
Ms. Johnson, your closing statement for 2 minutes.
So thank you again, everybody, for being here and spending some of your Saturday getting to know us. If anybody has questions that didn't get answered, things you'd like to know, I do have a Facebook page, Paula Johnson for Ward 1 Alderperson. So, and my phone number and personal email address are on there. Feel free to reach out. Happy to meet up, answer any questions. Like Mr. Sluder said, love this town. I've loved raising a family here. It's been a great place to raise my kids. I would really be honored to get your vote for city council. If I'm elected, I will be responsive to your questions and concerns. I will be transparent. I will be very responsible with your tax dollars and my own tax dollars. And I will represent you. I will represent what you have to say on the city council. So I guess that's it. Thank you. I ask for your vote.
Okay, let's thank both of these candidates for being here. So I'd also like to introduce, I believe Brandon Moss is here, who's running for Ward 2 unopposed. That's the only reason we're
Ward 3.
Ward 3. I wrote down the wrong ward. Sorry about that. That's the only reason we are introducing him, because he is unopposed. That does not
If you want to
imply.
introduce, I am running for Ward 2, Michael Ernst.
Okay, I'm sorry. That Brandon was the only person I
That's okay.
received a note on. So, and as a reminder, these folks